Hey, yo everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review. And today we're going to be doing my comic load for the past 2 weeks. It's pretty thick, but we're going to get through all of it, as well as news, updates, question and answers, and everything that falls in between. So, last week I didn't get to do a video review, so I'm sorry about that. I apologize. The main reason is because, like I said, I got promoted in work. I'm now at the flagship branch of the region, and I did have to work both weekend days last week. But what made things a little bit more complicated was the fact that I just didn't read the comics, all my comics that week. I was a little behind. And coupled with the fact that you got life, you got family, you got everything that ties into it, I wasn't able to get to everything I wanted to. So I'm going to try to do everything I can here. I still haven't read every comic. Future Quest and Scooby Apocalypse I haven't finished reading, as well as Ms. Fury, G.I. Joe, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'm behind on all of them. So that's neither here nor there. We're going to get into these, and I'm going to kind of give you my 2 cents real quickly on some of them. Some of them I may take more time with, but let's just get it started. And we're going to start where we always start, with a little bit of Batman in our life, with Batman issue number 3. So, and here's the variant cover by the legendary Tim Sale. Issue number 3 basically gives you the origin of Gotham and Gotham Girl, the new superhero team on the block, and it tells how they came to be and what motivates them and how it ties into Batman and all that fun, juicy stuff. The only thing it really doesn't go into is where they get their powers from, because they're like mid-level powered superheroes. Not quite the level of Superman, but more the level of, oh god, he's like more powerful than Superboy, but whatever. The fact of the matter remains is we don't know where they get their powers from. But in that, we get to see a little bit more of the story unfolding. We get to see a little bit more of the big bad, which, spoiler alert, is Hugo Strange. But we also get to see another classic DC villain, not necessarily Batman, but DC villain, show up in his new continuity, new 52 appearance, or rebirth appearance. And I won't spoil who that is. Some of you may not know him, but you're going to learn to love him. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Just on a whole, I think this issue was a solid issue. Some fun moments. Really did a good job at painting a picture and fleshing out the 2 characters of Gotham and Gotham Girl, making them slightly more interesting. The overall story is starting to build a little bit better, and the art is fantastic. Nothing really bad to say about this. I do recommend picking up 5 out of 5. Next, we're moving into Detective Comics number 937. So, Batman is locked up and being held against his will. And while this is going on, Batwoman has been betrayed by her father. And exactly what's going to go on, who's going to go where, and who's going to do what, and what tricks does Tim have up his sleeve. This issue, and I'm just flipping through it real quickly just to refresh myself, is an interestingly paced issue because we only really get two sections or 2 sceneries. We get Batman escaping, talking to his captors, and then the Bat team kind of talking with each other. And on a whole, I think it was a very good and well-paced issue. I thought the dialogue being thrown out here was good, and I thought the progression of the story was good. Bad, this just feels like a transition issue, although it does reveal quite a bit of the villain's motivation and why they're doing what they're doing, and some good dialogue. It's just like the calm before the storm. In saying that, I still thoroughly enjoyed Detective Comics, and I still think it's one of the best of the new 52. Pick it up, 4.5 out of 5. Nightwing Rebirth, or not Rebirth, but Nightwing issue number 1. So this is picking up a couple loose ends that were from before Rebirth, back in the New 52, particularly with Robin War. And if you don't know what Robin War, what happened there, the Court Owls got entangled with everyone, and basically they want to bring Dick Grayson into their fold. And by doing so, they threaten Robin. And while this is going on, Dick Grayson is able to remove the bomb or the weapon that was being used against Robin to kind of blackmail Nightwing into doing what he's doing. But Nightwing says, hey, you know what? I have this leverage. I have this ability to kind of sneak into the organization, hopefully take them down from within. I should probably try to do that. And that's the basic gist of this issue, is him working for the Court of Owls and saving people or attacking people while trying to get closer into their ranks. On the whole, I thought this was a solid start to the series. I thought it was better than the Rebirth issue, and pound for pound, it has some really good writing with Nightwing. And the art is pretty good too, although his Nightwing emblem is very skinny on his chest. I'm really interested to see where it goes from here. This will get a 5 out of 5. Let's talk Red Hood and the Outlaws Rebirth issue number 1, or the Rebirth special. What I find very interesting about Jason Todd, and I'm very glad that he got to continue his title in Rebirth, is that he's always had a really roller coaster relationship with comic book fans. When he's first introduced, he was almost a carbon copy of Dick. People didn't quite like that, so they gave him a new origin where he's from the streets. People didn't like that, so they killed him off. And for a while, he was dead. And then he got brought back and became the anti-hero, the villain, the Dark Batman. And some people were like, oh, this is really cool. And some people were like, why did you bring him back? He's the one thing that's supposed to stay dead. And then from there, he kind of got darker and darker and had some pretty good stories like Battle of the Cowl and Batman and Robin. And then finally, we transitioned to New 52, where he had a lot of controversy with his title. But a lot of the controversy actually came with Starfire, not necessarily Red Hood. In this, we got to see some development and growth with Red Hood. He became more of an anti-hero on the level of Wolverine, where he goes out, does what needs to be done, will kill if he has to, but rather not. And we got to see the character grow quite a bit. And then we also then see him transition into Red Hood and Arsenal, which, let's be honest, was not a good series. Mediocre at its best. And now he's transitioning into Red Hood and the Outlaws again, but now he has 2 different Outlaws. Instead of it being Starfire and Roy Harper, a.k.a. Arsenal, we have Artemis and Bizarro. Now, neither Artemis or Bizarro show up in this issue, but if you don't know who they are, Bizarro is that failed clone of Superman, and Artemis is actually someone that's held the mantle of Wonder Woman. She first showed up in the contest in the Challenge of Artemis story arc, where Wonder Woman had to retrial herself to be given the title of Wonder Woman. Through some fluke, she lost, Artemis won, then Artemis died, then crawled up from hell and became kind of a supporting character of Wonder Woman, but kind of like that supporting character that is like, I need to prove something, but at the same time, humph, the world doesn't accept me kind of thing. Like the Justice League wouldn't even allow her in when she was Wonder Woman, but we're not talking about Artemis. We're talking about this comic, particularly about Red Hood, Jason Todd. And what I like about this comic is it does 2 things. One, it kind of gives you, re-gives you the origin of Jason Todd and kind of ties it up nice and neatly. He's stealing the hubcaps or the wheels off the Batmobile rather than stealing from Leslie Tompkins, which I think is good. We get to see what motivated him as Robin, but we also get to see what's going to come from him as Nightwing going forward. And basically it is that he's going to infiltrate the underground of crime and try to, stir up and get solutions and take down evil and yada, yada, yada. Basically he's telling Batman, I may not be the son you wanted, but I am the son that you need. On a whole, and I'm spending a little bit more time on this than I did with the other ones, this was actually a really good Rebirth issue, and while with Scott Lobdell I do have my ups and downs with, I think this is a very good place for anyone to jump on with Red Hood. You do not need to know anything about Jason Todd before going into this, and after going into it, you will know, 1, he was Robin, B, he died, well, 2, he died, not B, that would be A, B, not 1B. 1, he was Robin, 2, he died, 3, he got brought back, and 4, he's now the Red Hood. That's really all you need to know, too. So, yeah, 5 out of 5. Solid issue. Batgirl Rebirth issue number 1. So, there's a lot of Batgirl getting thrown around these past 2 weeks. Basically, Batgirl has left Burnside, and she is backpacking through Japan and playing Pokemon Go and all that fun jazz. And while this is going on, some crazy, I don't know what to call her, Sailor Moon chick starts attacking people, and Batgirl has to basically stop her. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Dialogue was pretty on point, and the art is nice in this. I felt as though this felt like Barbara, and it sounded like Barbara. I don't know, who is it, Hope Larson that well? But Is it Hope Larson? Yeah, Hope Larson. I don't know her that well, but she does a pretty good voice for Barbara. Bad, I don't know. I mean, again, this is a Rebirth issue, so the story hasn't really started yet. But at the same time, I don't think this does anything to draw in the new readers as well. I'll give this a 3 out of 5. I'm interested to see where it goes, but it's going to get that. Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, issue number 1. So the Birds of Prey are back. Huntress, Black Canary, and Batgirl. And basically what this is exactly how they pitched it to us way back in the day at WonderCon. Way back in the day. A couple months ago at WonderCon. In that, someone's using the name of Oracle, and Barbara Gordon's like, oh, no, you didn't, and calls upon her friend Black Canary to help her out. While this is going on, someone that they're tracking down is someone that Huntress is tracking down. And when Huntress tracks someone down, she tracks the kill. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. I liked how Huntress was introduced in this, and more or less I also like how this Huntress is a blend of the New 52 Huntress and the pre-New 52 Huntress. She has the anger and the issues that Helena had when, back in the day, in the 2000s and the 90s, I gotta take out the mob and the mafia because my family got fucked for some reason. But at the same time, she still has that matron spiral kind of agent thing where she knows everything that's going on, and she's able to defend herself pretty good against Black Canary and Batgirl. And I think it kind of shows a good blending of the two characters, which makes on a whole, I think, a really good Huntress. It's good to see the team back together, and the premise for the story is pretty good. Bad, I didn't really find Black Canary or Batgirl surprisingly that interesting in this book. They were kind of okay, but besides that, it's a pretty good issue. 3.5 out of 5. Pick it up. Wonder Woman, issue number 3. Now, this is continuing the first story arc. And remember, there's 2 story arcs. There's a regular story arc on the odd numbers, which is in present day, and the year 1 story arc that is the even number set in the past. Basically, Cheetah and Wonder Woman are working together while running away from Wolf/Cheetah/Animal Man. And as this is going on, Stephen Trevor is slowly getting closer to Wonder Woman by entering into a jungle. We find out some interesting things about Cheetah here. Cheetah has changed quite a bit. She's more Cheetah than she is human, which is, pretty obvious, hence by the name. But very animalistic, very feral, very out of control. And the art really depicts it very well, which goes into the good. The art in this is fantastic. Some of the best art that Wonder Woman has had in quite a while. Not to say David Fincher wasn't good. David Fincher was good, but I think this art kind of has Wonder Woman written on it a little bit better. But then again, Brian Azzarello and Cliff Chang's run had fantastic art. Cliff Chang did a great job with it. But the art in this is good. I really love the moments between Cheetah and Wonder Woman, and I'm really curious to see where this goes from here. Bad, none. If you really want to get into Wonder Woman, this is kind of the story to get into it. The Lies story, that's what it's called, Lies. Just great art, great story. On whole, Rocket's knocking out the ballpark. 5 out of 5. Flash, issue number 3. So Flash and his boy, his new sidekick, which I believe his name is Agent August something. I forget his name. I'm still learning it. So they're kind of chilling with each other, and they're trying to figure out how the Speed Force storm is affecting everyone. And we go to Star Labs and Iron Heights, and we see people training there with the Speed Force. And while this is going on, Flash goes out to help a little girl control her Speed Force powers. And then the main villain of the series attacks, and that would be Godspeed. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. The introduction to Godspeed was handled pretty well. I thought the tender moments of Flash telling the girl how to control her powers was really good. This is I think has some good pacing to it when it comes down to the progression of the story and the story arc. And it was interesting to see Flash teach other people how to use their powers. Bad about this, way too much dialogue. It got a little overbearing at times. I like dialogue. I think, obviously I do because I read comics, I read books, but too much of it kind of slows down the enjoyment of the art, I think. And when they're just standing there and shooting techno babble at me, I really don't give two shits. And saying that, 4 out of 5. Flash, still a solid series. Great for new readers, okay for, or good for older readers. Aquaman, issue number 3. So basically, Black Manta's a dick, and he decides to join this new team called Nemo. Got to use those puns on fish and other aquatic stories and various different things. Captain Nemo, and I'm not talking about the fish Nemo. I'm just talking about. Never mind. Anyways, so Aquaman at the same time is trying to figure out exactly what's going on. Why is he not let into his diplomatic headquarters, or what is it called? The embassy that he created on land for Atlanteans and humans to kind of interact. And while this goes on, something causes Aquaman to need to be arrested, and he allows himself to get arrested. What is it that causes this? Well, you have to read and see. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. I'm going to say up front, this is a really fun series when it comes down to the political side of Aquaman and him trying to talk to people and work things out without it getting violent. I liked how the ending happened, how Aquaman kind of, had to address the crimes and charges that we're putting against them. Mira was great in this, and I like the fact that we get this new team called Nemo. Bad, nothing really. Solid issue through and through. I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5, though, so just as a heads up. So, on to Green Arrow, which I have consistently said has been one of the best of the Rebirth, and it continues this in issue number 3. Green Arrow is trying to find out exactly who's trying to steal his life and destroy everything he's ever grown near and dear to, and he comes to this brokerage firm, or this banker firm, for lack of a better term, who have these melted skin faces, and basically they're trying to take down Star City and trying to take down Oliver Queen, which they were successful for. But we also see a little bit more of what's going on with Imiko and with Shadow, and Black Canary, of course, is in there. I'm not going to go on too much about praising this, but I do think this is one of the best of the Rebirth. The pacing, the art, the dialogue, just the overall story has some interest and intrigue to it, and I think it's a great modernization of the Dennis O'Neil / Neil Adams stuff that they were doing with Green Arrow back in the day. And again, this is a great combination of Arrow as a character. If I could say there was anything that they can improve on, the Diggle stuff is kind of interesting, but at the same time, kind of like, what's going on? But other than that, great issue, pick it up. Moving onwards, so we have Justice League, issue number 1. So I was totes McGoats wrong. Justice League is being drawn by Tony Daniel. That was only the first issue, and this is basically spinning off from the Rebirth issue. Earthquakes are happening everywhere. People are getting possessed. Alien things are busting out and latching themselves onto people and all that jazz. On a whole, I thought the issue had some really good pacing, some really good dialogue. We got to see each member. Cyborg, I think, was the highlight in this. And I think the only member that was excluded was Superman quite a bit. And it's really interesting how DC is kind of handling Superman. It's like they're acknowledging that we have the pre-New 52 Superman, but at the same time they don't want to commit to him, which is frustrating. Frustrating as fuck. I would just like there to be one Superman that was the in-continuity true Superman with a history of New 52 Superman and everything that was the pre-New 52 Superman. But I'm not going to go on a rant about Superman right now because we all know how I feel about that. The art is gorgeous, and the only thing I can say is I don't really know who the villain is of this book. It's just like, hey, aliens are attacking kind of thing. Very reminiscent of Sorrow, but yeah. Any bad about this? I could just say that it still feels slow with the story. I thought we would get more. I mean, it definitely feels as though we're continuing the story that we got from the previous issue, the Rebirth issue, but I want a face to be put to this menace. I want to know who the bad guy is. On a whole, 4 out of 5, pick it up. Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, issue number 1. So my boy Hal is back with a ring, kicking ass and taking names, and basically he's trying to find the Green Lanterns. While this is going on, Sinestro is saying, shit, I'm old, I'm weak, and I need to get my powers back. And there's only one way to doing this. For those of you who don't know, Sinestro is weakened due to the, what were they called, the Pale Bishops. They were an enemy that he had back in the Sinestro book, which is a solid book that I think everyone should read if you want to enjoy the character. But Sinestro needs to get his power back, and Hal needs to get his quartz back. And you can see the two trains just ready to collide with each other. On a whole, I thought this was a good issue. I thought it did everything that this issue needed to do. A good solid start to the story arc, although the Rebirth issue was kind of the start to the story arc. Kind of sets the stage for the conflict that is going to be had. Other than that, I mean, it's a good issue. I love the Sinestro stuff. I love the Hal stuff. That's going to get a 4.5 out of 5. Next is going to be Green Lanterns issue number 3. So, again, the Green Lanterns are dealing with the Red Lanterns and fighting against them and trying the best they can to stop the Red Dawn that's going on. But this issue would have been just kind of another, again, the same thing over and over again issue. But it does something interesting in that we find out more about Simon Baz's ring and his ability to use his ring. And I want to point out, remember, this ring is Sinestro's ring. Just remember that. But this ring has the ability to heal people, but it also had the ability to heal a certain Red Lantern. I won't say who. And the interaction and the dialogue that happens with this Red Lantern that gets healed, it's really kind of cool. Which keeps us from going into the Toot category, because at first I was going to be like, oh, it's just more of the same, more of the Red Lanterns, more of this Red Dawn, oh no, let's band together, buddy cop kind of thing. But the fact that we had this change with that particular Red Lantern was pretty cool, and the ending is going to be, sets up what should be a pretty good next issue. So with that said, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. This book is continuing to do things that is enjoyable and enough to keep me hooked. Titans, issue number 1, or Wally West and his Band of Merry Men, because that's really what it is. Basically, Wally West is trying to find out more about his past and how it connects to what made all the changes, and the Titans are trying to work together. And while this is going on, a villain that claims he takes responsibility for taking Wally West out of the picture is going to be doing it for real skis now and really going to kill him and all that kind of jazz. So yeah, good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. I like the Titans kind of sitting and just chilling with each other, talking with each other. Donna Troy seems more like Donna Troy in this than she's ever been. Less broody and bitchy and, oh, I killed everyone, I am a terrible person. And more like, hey guys, she actually does this. Hey guys, how you doing? She feels a little bit more bubbly, which is what Donna is, and caring, compassionate, which is, again, what Donna is. Everyone kind of gets their bit of the story in this, although the majority of it goes to Wally. And, yeah, I just love the interaction, the familyness that comes from this. The only bad is I don't care about the evildoer at the end. The bad guy, I don't even know who he is, and I'm an expert on DC, like, I'm going to have to look him up just to make sure. But I like that, and I'm interested to see how they're going to have Linda Park kind of play into this, because they've been talking a lot about her. On a whole, 4 out of 5, Titans, solid read, pick it up. Next is going to be Constantine Rebirth Special. So this issue is basically just Constantine talking and dealing with the demon that's trying to claim his soul, and him just constantly trying to outsmart the demon. That's it. On a whole, this is going to get 3.5 out of 5. I think it's fun because it shows you who Constantine is. If you never met Constantine before, if you never read Constantine before, this is going to teach you who Constantine is and what's he about and how he fights his villain. It isn't through power of magic and his ability to overcome great odds. It's his ability to outthink people. So yes. we're coming up to the end of the Rebirth and going to the regular stuff. So next is Superman Rebirth. Basically, this is Superman dealing with the Eradicator. Superman issue number 3. Dealing with the Eradicator, who is trying to save his son, but also purge his son of the human aspect, because, human beings are icky, and we need to have pure Kryptonians in this new Krypton that we're going to create, and all that fun jazz. So yeah, that's basic gist of it. Superman versus Eradicator. It's going to get a 3 out of 5. I'm interested to see where Eradicator goes. Some nice little moments here and there, but very standard status quo kind of stuff. Action Comics issue number 960, the fight between Doomsday and Superman, enjoys a little cameo with Wonder Woman, who joins in on the fight. And while this is going on, Superman has to protect his family, and really that's the basic gist of this issue. We still don't get more on why Doomsday are attacking, or how he's smart, or anything like that. It's just more fighting, which is good because it's nice to see some good action and just like plain flat out battling, and there was a good sense of drama and urgency in this, and seeing Wonder Woman in it is nice. The only thing I could say is I want to see more of the story progress, because the story's not really progressing. We don't know why Doomsday is there, we don't know how he's got there, and we don't know like his thought process. We don't know if there's a greater power behind it. We have that Mr. Oz in the background, but he's been doing jack shit. Nothing's really been done with the Clark Kent that's in there. With that said, I'm going to give this also a 3 out of 5. And a good issue, could have been better. Now on to the regular comics. We got Suicide Squad. This is the last issue, I believe, Suicide Squad issue number 22, and it's basically Harley Quinn psychoanalyzing herself. This was actually a really fun issue. I would recommend picking it up, even though it's like a standalone issue, and you got to see a lot about Harley that you never really understood. And 4 out of 5. Next is actually Harley Quinn. Here we go. And this is the last issue, and this is Harley chaining herself to a tree and trying to save that tree for Poison Ivy. But at the same time, she needs to go to work, and she goes to work and help out people there. This is kind of a swan song for the book, even though it's going to be continuing with the same creative team and Rebirth stuff. This is basically them saying, we're done for now. But don't worry, we'll be back. But it kind of puts that period on the book. And you see Poison Ivy at the end, and the two of them just chilling, and it really kind of ties together everything what Harley Quinn has been about. Harley is Harley, so this is more of a lax version of Harley than the serious version we get in, well, serious. But it's a little bit more free-spirited kind of writing, so if you like that kind of stuff, pick it up. I still think Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Conner are kind of knocking it out of the park. Deathstroke, issue number 20. This is the last issue of this series, too, and it's just fucking Deathstroke versus everyone. Deathstroke versus Ra's al Ghul. Deathstroke versus the Nova Society. Deathstroke versus Hulk Hogan. Deathstroke versus Kylo Ren. It's Deathstroke versus everyone. And of course, Deathstroke being the badass, he's got to win somehow. But how can he take on all these threats and still win? Gonna have to wait and see. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. This is a good send-off for the issue. The good send-off for what I think is one of the best runs on Deathstroke. And one of the best costings for Deathstroke, too. I think it does a good job at like leaving things with him and his children, and getting him out of the agreement with Ra's al Ghul, and it's just on a whole satisfying issue, and you get to see him even start to age a bit and go back to what he was. One thing I didn't like is he didn't have a goatee. Deathstroke needs a goatee. But in saying that, solid issue through and through. Pick it up. 4.5 out of 5. Teen Titans, aka the comic that I really haven't really cared about in a long time. Yeah. The Titans have to go save what's his face? Red Robin, and by doing so they had to break into Belle Reese, and I say that, and they put Gotham City like Gotham City. They were in Belle Reese. Well, anyways, I just noticed that. It's kind of cool to see the Titans working together and outsmarting Amanda Waller. But again, I just don't care about this comic. Dr. Fate, the comic that I thought was going to end at some point, but continues. So, hey, yay. No, but on the whole, Dr. Fate has actually, since we've had the original Dr. Fate show up, has been a much more interesting comic. I thought this issue was pretty fast-paced. I liked the fact that it's the younger, the older generation teaching the younger generation, and I thought it had some pretty good resolution. The only thing I didn't like is there's 2 stories in here, and I could care diddly squat about the second story. But I would still recommend picking it up if you're a fan of Dr. Fate. We're coming up to the end of DC. We have DC's Legend of Tomorrow. I read everything except for Sugar and Spice because I don't care about Sugar and Spice. I'm sure it's good, but I just don't care. Metamorpho story is good. Firestorm story is really good. And Metal Man story is decently good. It's still good. Pick this up. Really love this because it's got a Silver Age feel to it with a modernized twist. And you know how much of a sucker for the Silver Age in a certain way. Injustice Gods Among Us, Year 5, number 14. So this is Flash really testing where his loyalties belong, and we see Superman become more of a dick, and slowly I think this is coming to the mark in the comics or in the game where we're supposed to be. And you get to see the character who is the best of us, which is Barry. Barry is really the best of us, and we see him kind of go down a dark path. This was a great issue. 4 out of 5. Buccellato is continuing a fun run with this comic. Now we're moving on to non-DC. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, issue number 60. I said 6. 5 out of 5 here. Basically, it's Kitsu versus all the Turtles, but really turns into Splinter and Leonardo versus everyone else. And this is just... This comic almost can do no wrong. From the storytelling to the art to just the dynamics of character development and growth and tying everything together, it's just awesome. And a nice tribute to Darwyn Cooke in the back. Rest in peace. 5 out of 5. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is one of the best comics around that you can pick up. Obviously, it's in issue 60, so it's pretty far along, but get the back issues or pick up the trades because it's well worth it. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, issue number 5? Yes, 5. We feel like I'm further along on this comic than we are, and I think my favorite cover is this one. I love the toy covers because I'm a sucker for toys. Basically, Rita had someone else in mind to take the Dragon Sword coin instead of Tommy. Which Ranger is that? Well, if you look at the cover, you can probably figure out. But basically, that Ranger gets tempted. And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's kind of cool to see that Rita had someone else in mind, and I know this is out of continuity and doing a modernized updating of the Rangers, but it's really cool to see character development for some of the Rangers outside of Tommy, Kimberly, Billy, Jason. That narrows it down just 2. But it's good to see character development being spread around. So with that said, I think this is 4 out of 5. Good issue. Power Rangers Pink, with the miniseries that's been going on with Power Rangers, set in what is considered the 3rd season of Power Rangers. Just as a little bit of recap, Kimberly is at her World Gymnastic Tournament, Global Pan Olympic thingamajiggy, whatever it's called, and basically trouble ensues when monsters attack, and she uses the Sword of Power, which was used to transfer powers from the Rangers to the new Rangers, to gain powers to become a temporary Pink Ranger. Basically, she's a Pink Ranger with a slightly different costume. If you can see it here, it's the same helmet, but a bit of a different costume. What's cool is she says she needs help, so she calls upon the help of Zach and Trini, who also share the power of the Pink Ranger. So if you notice, they get updated costumes too, but with a bit of pink in it, which is pretty cool too. Which is, it's an interesting fact, because in this comic, and what I like about this issue, is Kimberly right away says to Zordon, I need help. Can I get, the Rangers? And he's like, no, the Rangers can't help you. And he goes, okay, well, I need to contact Jason, Zach, and Trini. And he says, Jason's unavailable. He's on his own mission right now. Which is, what the fuck is that mission? I really want to know. Jason's my favorite character. But I think it's good that they didn't include Jason. As much as that pains me, because Jason is my favorite character, it's kind of good because it gives Trini and Zach kind of a send-off. And what do I mean by that? Well, all the Rangers who left kind of had a chance to say goodbye in their own ways a little bit more properly. Kimberly, after she left, she had a good goodbye, like a really good send-off, but she got to show up in the Turbo Power Ranger movie. Okay, Billy got to live through Zeo. Jason returned for Zeo and for Wild Force, so he got a lot of time in there. But Zach and Trini never got a proper send-off, I think. They were always stuck with the stock footage send-off. It's good to see that these characters got to play around in this issue, and I want to see more of them. This is a 5 out of 5. I really like the Pink series, and I'm curious where it goes from there. We're rounding out to the last 3. Captain America issue number 3. So we got to see Captain America as an evil agent of Hydra, and him bickering and moaning with Red Skull and going, "Oh my God, Supreme Leader, my bad. I didn't do this correct," and all that jazz. Good. I thought what action we did get was pretty cool. I like how the shield detaches and kind of shoots out. It's like a blade, but it also shoots out and becomes a projectile. He doesn't necessarily throw his shield anymore. He shoots it. Okay, it defeats the purpose of the shield, but it's still kind of a cool function. The art is good, and we get to see Taskmaster in this. And what very little of Marvel I know I like Taskmaster. Bad, it was a lot of just, "I'm sorry, Red Skull" kind of stuff. Besides that, it was an okay issue, 3 out of 5. Darth Vader, issue number 23. This issue is Darth Vader basically trying to get the Executor back, the giant superstar destroyer, and just taking on all odds while doing so. This comic is coming to an end in 2 issues. The last issue was kind of mediocre, but this issue was pretty good. Pick it up. And lastly on the list is Star Wars issue number 21. This issue is a standalone issue that just shows the Stormtrooper team and trying to make them badass, because Stormtroopers really aren't badass, even though they kind of are badass, and yeah. It was an okay issue, but not necessary to pick up. So I'm going to end those there. I'm not going to do a pick of the week because it's 2 weeks. I could do 2 picks, but I'm not going to. With that said, we'll get into the Andrew Cutter questions and answers and comments and check in on those. So for those of you that don't know, this is the part where I talk to you guys about just basically the comments that you guys send, the questions you ask. This is kind of interaction. I love it. I love talking to you guys and kind of going back and forth. So let's start things off with the first one, and then that's X Valis. What did you think of Batman v Superman? And did you hear that FA Studios make a Red Sonja game? First of all, is Batman v Superman I'm going to review later. I got the Ultimate Edition. I'm kind of watching through it now. I have some strong opinions, both good and some negative, but what I will say is this, is that the Ultimate Edition is lightening up the movie a bit, making it better. But I can't give you a final analysis until I actually review it. I think you guys might be surprised on what I have to say. Already you're thinking he's going to say something negative, or you're thinking he's just going to suck the cock of Batman and Superman. No, I think I have a very mixed but encouraging and also confusing take on it. So just wait till I get to through the Ultimate Edition. As for the Red Sonja game, I didn't know about that, and I'm intrigued. Speak more about this game. Please speak more. Is it for console? Is it for PC? Because you know how I love my girl, Red Sonja. Next is Al Batman 22. Who do you think is more compelling Blue Boy Scout, Captain America, Superman, and why? The Boy Scout kind of persona. Who's more of a compelling one? Like, who fits the role more, or who is more interesting in the role? That's kind of an interesting question. I might lean towards Superman, because Superman is all about that truth, justice, and American way. And he's all about like standing up against bullies and kind of stuff, and eat your vitamins and don't do drugs and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, Superman's been kind of a dick lately. So you could lean towards Captain America. I think pound for pound I'm going to go with Superman over the years. He embodies that Boy Scout persona a bit more, where I think Captain America has that Boy Scout persona, but it's more of a military persona too. He is a soldier, plain, flat, and simple, and I think that kind of overshadows the Boy Scoutness. Kiro Wack, DS9 talk is encouraged. Who is your favorite character so far? Well, I'm glad to hear that you guys like that I'm watching DS9. As of right now, my favorite character is probably, excluding Worf, because Worf doesn't count, he's a next generation character through and through. I think pound for pound my favorite character is Quark, Garrick, and Bashir. Yeah, I have to say that bunch. Out of those, I would probably pick Quark. Quark really redeemed the Ferengi in my eyes, who in Next Gen were, and I love Next Gen to death. It's my favorite Star Trek series. But Next Gen did have a few hiccups, and I think the Ferengi were one of them. Trying to make the Ferengi a superpower threat in the galaxy, and then DS9 did a very good job at taking the Ferengi and turning them into this commerce and this profit and this very patriotical society, and like they don't even allow their women to wear clothes, and it's kind of interesting how they create this culture that it's a very weird but believable culture. I love Garrick just because I love the Cardassian aspect, and Gal Dukat thrown in it too. Gal Dukat I think is one of the best villains in Star Trek, if not the best. That's debatable with Khan and a couple other people, but we can talk about that later. And I think out of the Starfleet officers, I find Bashir the most interesting, because Bashir is just... No, I'm going to remove Bashir, and I'm going to put O'Brien. I love O'Brien. He's a family man. He's a outspoken character, and what I particularly like about O'Brien is he's very blatantly outspoken. Like, he has his prejudice because he's been to war with the Cardassians and stuff like that, but it makes the character have a little bit more layers to him. And I'll throw Bashir in there. But yeah, I love DS9. It's been going really well. Going really, really well. Next is Green Arrow Hunter. Hi, Andrew. Couple questions. Have you read the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger ongoing series from Boom Studio? Yes, I have, and it is awesome. 2. Do you think RoboCop, Liu Kang, Luke Skywalker, Goku are Justice League material? Yes, but to a point. I think Goku out of all of them would be the most Justice League material, and mainly because Goku doesn't kill his enemies. Like, I love Luke. Luke is one of my favorite fictional characters, but he does kind of kill people. Same with RoboCop and same with Liu Kang. They're good. They're very good people, heroes, champions of truth and justice, and all that is good. But I mean, Luke has literally a lightsaber that slices people up. Liu Kang fatalities people, and RoboCop boom, boom, boom. But Goku only killed 2 of his opponents, so I think it was 2. If you count Frieza, 3, because he did kill Frieza the second time. But he only killed that giant bug thing in Boo, and then Frieza the second time. But every other time, he's been pretty merciful. 3 Battle Royale, Darth Maul versus Atrocitus. I will get back to the Battle Royale, I promise. I just haven't been in the mindset to. Hank Mueller, I hope. What makes collecting and making videos fun for you? So collecting comics is just comics and figures and video games. I think is, for me, not only is it fun because I get to experience those things and it's a form of escapism for me. I think collecting, because I could easily read this issue and then give it to my friend, and I've already have in my head what happened in this issue. I don't necessarily need it afterwards. But for me, it's almost like a badge of honor. Like, look at me, look at what I have, look at my collection. It's almost like I completed this game. I bested this game. I conquered this game. I completed this comic. I've read this comic. I conquered this comic. It's an achievement, kind of, in an odd way. As for figures, I don't know. I think I'm just a kid at heart. And I'm making up for not having those figures when I was younger. I don't know. I have a strange theory on why I collect figures. I got back into collecting figures because of Beast Wars. Which is odd, because I think the reason why I started collecting Beast Wars stuff again is because I really wanted a Master Sword, like a custom-made Master Sword, which eventually I got, and I'm probably going to get a new one because I want to get a new one, but I couldn't afford it, so I started collecting figures to fill that void, and it just continued. think that might be a weird way of doing it. But, I mean, with, like, Power Rangers is me. Like, when I was younger, I had all the deluxe regular Power Ranger figures. I had Tiger Zord and the Falcon Zord. But I never had the original Megazord. I never had the Dragon Zord. Like, I never had the Dragon Flute or Morpher. I think it's me kind of satisfying my need to fulfill what I didn't have as a kid, maybe. But I just love figures. I love posing them. I love collecting them. It's a good time. Really kind of a out there question, but I have slowed down. Like, seriously, I have slowed down. Like, look at my room. Like, look at this. Little aggressive. Room needs to be picked up big time. It's a little aggressive. And then back here, I've kind of created new rules for myself, limiting what I can pick up, and oh god, Batman though. Kind of limiting what I can pick up because I just pick up too much, and plus I have a family I need to support, so I can't be dropping. Like there was that new Marvel Legends Wolverine, which is right here on the back, right there, in the gray and the brown and the orange costume, the brown and yellow, which I like that costume a lot. I wanted to get the figure, but I said, do I really want to drop $20 on this? Like, I have a family to support. But then again, I see a Batman figure, I'm like, give it to me now! No! Martha! Martha! They should really have a Martha Wayne figure. But anyways, yeah. So, next is Soul Drum 80... Wait, no. Did I skip one? I did. Skip two. Diablo 0034. Random question, Andrew. Are you left-handed? Or are you right-handed? I am right-handed. So, always have been. I've been I'm left. I'm ambidextrous when it comes down to fighting. I can fight with both hands and both feet pretty well. I don't favor one side or another. With writing, I tried to learn how to do left-handed, but it just didn't work. So I'm right-handed with everything else. Garth Trevor. Hey, Andrew, which Batman love interest would you marry to Batman? Vicky Vale or Catwoman? Let me know. If I'm given those two options, I'm going to go with Catwoman. Vicky Vale is a cool character, but she feels very much like a Lois Lane ripoff. Catwoman has some intrigue to her. She keeps Batman's life interesting, and she can keep up with them. So if I'm going to go with those two pussies, I'm going to go with the pussy Catwoman. Get it? Nah, bad. Anyways, I think Catwoman, I just think balances Batman a little bit better. Soul Drum 86. Hey Andrew, have you seen the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman? I like it a lot better than the theatrical cut. They cut so much of the film out. Anyways, I just want to know if you've seen it and how you feel about it. Like I said, I'm watching it right now, kind of pausing here and there between life and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm going to get into it, don't worry. Nick Lenz. Andrew, first question. What's your view on Grand Admiral Thrawn being canon and the new canon and appearing in Star Wars Rebels Season 3? I think it's fucking awesome. Thrawn is my favorite villain of all time. I think I've made that pretty evident in many of my videos. He antithesis everything a villain should be, and I only hope that Timothy Zahn stuff is still in continuity. The Heir to the Empire and the Hand of Thrawn trilogy and duology. Those become canon, I'm Gucci. I'm good. Because it brings back my favorite character, Mara Jade. One of my favorite characters. Lucas is my favorite. But Mara Jade, one of my favorite characters. And it has my boy, Grand Admiral Thrawn, doing what he does best. Being a badass. Number 2. And second, where did you get the Batman poster on your wall to the left of the bookshelf? Do you mean that one? If you mean that one, I got it from Newbury Comics. So, or do you mean... Actually, most of my posters are Newbury Comics, so that's Newbury Comics, that's Newbury Comics. My wife and I, when we lived in Burlington, we lived right next to Newbury Comics, so we scooped up a lot from there. But that, what you see on the wall here, I want to say, the Zelda one, the Zelda and the Bioshock and Newbury Comics, the other ones are GameStop. You have your Symphony of the Goddess one over there, which is hidden behind the thingamajiggy. And then all these right here, all the Zelda ones, Majora's Mask, Link Between Worlds, Skyward Sword, Link poster, and Ocarina of Time, that's all that is all New Ray Comics. So, yeah. As much as I can give shit about New Ray Comics, I buy enough stuff from there. Still overpriced, but yeah. Third, do you own any of the Starman Omnibus trades? No, I do not. I should read it. I know I should. Timing is really this thing. Fourth, have you thought of getting the Back to the Future comic book series by IDW? As much as I like Back to the Future, I haven't given any thought at all about getting the series, so no. And fifth, have you read any comics by John Osterlin? I might have. I don't know for sure. Give me a list of some of his comics and I can let you know. Some of his prominent comics. Cameron Cawthorn. Andrew, can you please update your Batman comic timeline since you haven't in 6 years? People really want that Batman timeline. Here's the thing about creating a Batman timeline again. I don't know what's in continuity anymore. Continuity is just thrown all over the place right now. So, yeah. John Doe 297. Hey Andrew, I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on Batman v Superman. Again, that will be coming out. I know you said there was trouble uploading your review, but still looking forward to it. Also, do you have the Ultimate Edition? Thanks. So, you guys got the answer on that. I will probably next week, or this week coming up, I'll try to post something. And lastly, he said, I would love to see your complete Batman graphic novel collection. Yeah, you can peep the scene a little bit later. I'll show you some other time. So those are the questions for this week. Any news at all other than Jeff Johns becoming president of DC Comics? Not too much. I'm trying to think, is there any really other comic book news? Well, we had those two trailers, Wonder Woman, Justice League, and I don't think I talked about them, did I? I didn't. Holy shit, did I not talk about that stuff? Well, I'll talk about it and pretend I did. Holy crap. So, first of all, the Wonder Woman trailer, awesome. She looked badass. The story looks good. My favorite scene is when she's in the war zone and she hits a fucking mortar shell and she's standing there with her shield and a... Pretty cool. And then Justice League trailer was awesome. I mean, you can tell it was kind of a thrown together trailer because they haven't done stop shooting yet. But like you see a lot of cool parts on it, like Batman talking to Aquaman and Aquaman being a badass, and you see Flash and Ezra Miller. Like, I wasn't much of a fan of him being Flash at first. Like, I love him in Perks of Being a Wallflower, but after seeing that trailer, I'm like, you know what, this boy can do it. And then Cyborg looks awesome and it just looks good. The only thing missing from it, my boy Hal. I'm looking at you, pal. I'm looking at you. So yeah, those trailers look good. Suicide Squad, I can't wait to see that movie. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, nothing really else. Just been busy with life, busy with work, and all that jazz. So I'm going to end this video here. It's been almost about an hour. So with that said, this is Andrew saying peace out for now.